Hi, it's Katrina! From mysterious heads at an airport to an entirely new kind of gemstone, here are 9 surprising discoveries. Number 10. Whale versus squid. When a large female sperm whale washed ashore on Forest Caves Beach on Phillip Island in southern Australia, curious beachgoers experienced things that one can typically expect when they go near a dead whale. Rotting blubber, a bloated corpse filling up with bodily gases, and an unbearable stench that people reportedly smelled from as far as 3 miles away. The Gippsland Department of Environment, Land, Water and Planning announced on Facebook that it would not be removing the 52-foot-long carcass from its resting place on the beach because the site is difficult to access using machinery. Meanwhile, authorities set up an exclusion zone around the dead whale for safety reasons, since a buildup of gases can cause the creature to explode. And they wanted to take samples for research. While examining the remains, scientists noticed sucker marks on the whale's side, indicating that she got into a scuffle with a giant squid sometime before she died. The site was familiar to Mike Cleland, an education officer in Inverloch, who saw similar marks on a dead whale during the 1980s. The more recently deceased whale had these sucker marks of up to about 10 centimeters, Cleland told ABC Radio, adding that these sperm whales dive down to 1 kilometer or more in depth to feed on the giant squids. But if they come up to a squid and the squid tries to defend itself by wrapping itself around the sperm whale, they finish up with these sucker marks. Despite her injuries, the whale's cause of death is unknown. Number 9. Mysterious heads at the airport. This one's kind of gory, so if you aren't up for it, skip to number 8. In a rather morbid discovery, a shipment seized at an Arkansas airport contained about 60 human heads and other parts of heads, all wrapped neatly with duct tape and jammed inside of plastic containers. This is one of the most gruesome airport nightmares ever, and probably the sickest thing to have ever come through the mail in history. Investigators initially believed that the heads were probably medical specimens, but that wasn't confirmed. ABC News reported that the ghoulish cargo may have been involved in some kind of strange underground market for human body parts. The discovery was first made by a Southwest Airlines employee who has probably since sought counseling for finding the traumatic collection of body parts. The heads were not refrigerated or placed on ice, and there appeared to be nothing professional about the way they were packaged. This is strange because their heads were being shipped by JLS Consulting LLC, a company specializing in medical research. Even though the severed heads might be passed off as medical specimens, the truth is that there is an underground human body parts market, and nobody knows who's in on it. Number 8. Prehistoric shell. A man named Jose Antonio Nievas encountered an unexpected Christmas surprise in 2015 when he spotted what looked like a partially exposed shell laying in the mud along a riverbank in Argentina. He was out walking with his dog when he saw the large round object sticking out. He tried to dig it out more and suspected he may have found a dinosaur egg. His wife said that when her husband claimed he had found a dinosaur egg, everyone thought he was joking and laughed. I mean, how often does that happen? It turned out that Nievas did not exactly find a scaly dinosaur egg, but a fossilized prehistoric creature. The black scaly shell most likely belonged to a glyptodont, a giant creature that sort of looks like today's armadillo. Glyptodonts lived throughout South America for tens of millions of years before going extinct, spreading to southern North America at some point after the 2 continents became connected. The specimen that Nievas discovered dates back to around 10,000 years ago, right around the time they also went extinct, making it possibly one of the last to roam the earth. Glyptodon fossils are commonly found in Argentina, and the massive armadillo most likely was hunted to the brink by early humans who targeted them for their meat. What would you do if you found a fossil like this? Sell it? Keep it? Let me know in the comments below. And really quick, I want to say a big thank you to Brody Rains and Chris Moreno. Thanks so much for your support. We couldn't do it without you. If you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join us. Number 7. An atmosphere reborn. 41 light years from here, there is an exoplanet known only as GJ 1132b, which orbits a red dwarf star, completing a circle every 1.5 Earth days. This strange planet may have lost its atmosphere, but might have gained a new one from volcanic activity. A recent analysis of Hubble Space Telescope observations found signs of a secondary atmosphere on the radiation-rich planet. According to theory, the planet began as a gaseous world thick with hydrogen and measuring several times the diameter of Earth, but lost its early atmosphere due to radiation from the star it orbits, reducing it to a bare core roughly the size of Earth. We first thought that these highly irradiated planets could be pretty boring because we believed that they lost their atmospheres, study co-author Raisa Estrella said in a statement. But the experts realized that they were wrong, at least in this case, when they noticed that G1132b does in fact have an atmosphere, and that it contains molecular hydrogen, hydrogen cyanide, methane, and an aerosol haze similar to smog. The team believes that the planet may orbit its star closely enough to cause volcanic activity, giving rise to the secondary atmosphere via gases seeping out through the cracked crust. They hope to conduct further research on the planet, which, in the words of lead study author and exoplanet scientist Mark Swain, begs the question: how many terrestrial planets don't begin as terrestrials? Number 6. Trees in the desert. Late last year, an international team of NASA scientists and other researchers announced the unexpected discovery of some 1.8 billion trees in arid and semi-arid parts of the world, where the team did not expect to find much vegetation at all. Using artificial intelligence, the experts trained a deep learning algorithm to identify trees based on high-resolution satellite imagery as part of a project in search of trees in non-forested areas. As a result, the team was turned on to the locations of trees in places that are often overlooked for their contributions to climate models and other predictive systems. The surprising discovery was made over a 500,000 square mile area that includes the Sahara Desert and the Sahel, a transitional area between the Sahara to the north and the Savannah to the south. These findings would have taken months without advanced technology. The data gleaned from studies like this is extremely valuable for environmental sciences and for learning about and making policy decisions on things like climate change, restoration, preservation, and conservation. Number 5. A new gemstone. It's not every day that you discover an entirely new type of gemstone. Scottsdale, Arizona resident John Hornewer is a self-proclaimed lifelong gold hunter who passed his hobby onto his family. In an interview with azfamily.com, he described himself as always hunting for that gigantic nugget or that one lost Dutchman's mine. But the Hornewers made an entirely different kind of discovery in early 2020 when they went mining for gold at an abandoned mine near Four Peaks in the Sonoran Desert and discovered a gem they didn't recognize. The previously unknown material, dubbed sonoranite, contains multiple precious and rare metals, including gold, silver, copper, palladium, and cobalt, as well as gem-quality epidote and pumpelite. The website states that visually it has been best described as that of a snow globe, an almost three-dimensional quality which is further enhanced by natural sunlight. This marked the first time in 40 years that a new gemstone has been identified in the U.S., the previous occasion being when Mount St. Helens erupted, and it was discovered that volcanic ash can be turned into helenite. Number 4. Deep sea bacteria. When you think of being immune to something, we think that the human immune system has the ability to recognize and react to any bacteria that enters our bodies, including specimens from unfamiliar environments that we've never encountered before. That's called universal immunity, the idea that our bodies will just fight back against anything strange. However, this long-held theory was recently shattered in a collaborative study among researchers from Boston University, Harvard University, and more, who discovered that human immune cells cannot register certain bacteria because they are so foreign to us. The team made their unexpected findings based on microbial organisms that we are unlikely to ever come into contact with, which live nearly 9,850 feet below the ocean's surface. They began to look into the issue of our immunity to foreign bacteria after realizing that there are major gaps in our knowledge, in the words of researchers from the Marine Ecology Lab at Boston University. I mean, yeah, just look at what's going on right now. There seems to be a lot we don't know. When put to the test, 80% of the deep-sea bacteria tested were immunosilent to the human immune system, meaning that they triggered no response from our bodies. The multidisciplinary research involved sequencing thousands of genes from a 2,000 nautical mile span of the Pacific Ocean over a 5-year period, performing much of the work on a floating laboratory. To deep-sea bacteria, humans are Martians, and vice versa. We have evidence that the immune system of mammals has the ability to detect microbial bacteria from our home habitat, not habitats that are foreign like the deep ocean, the team said. Basically, the immune system receptor's ability to detect bacteria might be defined by our direct environment and is not a trait that would necessarily work anywhere. Scientists believe that this may potentially be a helpful trait for using silent bacteria to deliver medicine and immune therapy to the human body, but they admit that a lot more research is required before anything like that can happen. Number 3. A living rope. While observing the beach at the Padre Island National Seashore near the Gulf of Mexico recently, a National Park Service guide named Rebecca Clausen spotted what initially looked like a mass of discarded yellow rope washed up along the shore. But the rope ball wasn't garbage at all. It was a living creature, a soft, flexible coral called a sea whip, which can be red, orange, yellow, violet, lavender, or purple, according to the Marine Species Identification Portal. NPS representatives reported in a Facebook photo of Clausen's find that they mostly spot yellow and red sea whips. The term sea whip encompasses numerous genera of soft corals. The ones seen on North American shorelines are of the Leptogorgia virgulata, or colorful sea whip species. They live close to shore and are spotted as far north as New Jersey and as far south as the Gulf of Mexico. A post on the Padre Island National Seashore Facebook page explains that you can spot a sea whip by looking for the black skeleton on the inside of the coral, while the colorful parts are the polyp colonies that make up the living part of the organism. Next time you think something might be trash, be sure to take a closer look. Number 2. First-generation star. Scientists still have a lot to learn about space and are constantly making fascinating new discoveries. In early 2020, a group of scientists spent hours one evening examining a star called J0815+4729. I'll just call the star Mr. J. It is a primitive star situated in the Lynx constellation, roughly 5,000 light-years away from Earth. Astrophysicist Adam Burgasser told CNN that stars like Mr. J are referred to as halo stars. They have a rounder distribution around the Milky Way as opposed to the more familiar flat disk of younger stars that include the Sun. The team detected 16 chemicals in the star's atmosphere, making up what they considered a strange chemical composition. Included among the contents were unusually high levels of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, making Mr. J especially unique among already rare halo stars. Using the W.M. Keck Observatory on Mauna Kea in Hawaii, the team determined that Mr. J was among the first generation of stars to emerge into existence after the universe formed. The primitive composition of the star indicates that it was formed during the first hundreds of millions of years after the Big Bang, possibly from the material expelled from the first supernovae of the Milky Way, the scientists said in the study. Only a few such stars are known in the halo of our galaxy, but none have such an enormous amount of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen compared to their iron content. John O'Meary, chief scientist at the Keck Observatory, praised the surprising discovery, stating, "It tells us about some of the earliest times in the universe by using stars in our own cosmic backyard." He added that he looks forward to more studies of this nature, which will help scientists better understand how and when different elements came to be during the universe's youngest stages. Number 1. A rare tree. When retired Professor John Lockheed purchased his home in rural Conway, Massachusetts in the 70s, he also bought the 250 acres of land surrounding it so that nobody could encroach on his privacy. That's the way to do it right there. Not knowing what else to do with the forested property, he enrolled in a government-run forestry management program during the 1980s. Lockheed decided to participate in an oak regeneration program that provides landowners who participate with technical and financial assistance. The program aims to repopulate the area with oak trees. Personnel from the Natural Resources Conservation Service Division of the U.S. Department of Agriculture visited the property to scope out potential sites. They settled on a 4-acre plot located deep within Lockheed's forest, where the existing plant life would be cut down to make room for the oak trees. While wandering the site prior to the removal, Lockheed's friend noticed chestnuts on the ground. Sitting all by itself was a rare American chestnut tree. Once one of eastern North America's most important trees, the American chestnut was destroyed by a fungal disease, leaving the remaining population small and struggling to survive. A representative from the American Chestnut Foundation, did you know that was a thing? Reported to the site where he confirmed the tree's species and that it's in good health. Lockheed ensured that the seldom-seen tree did not get cut down as part of the removal and had the trees surrounding it removed to give it sunshine and enable it to thrive. Surviving American chestnut trees are sought out by TACF for the organization's breeding program, which cross-pollinates the species with a fungal-resistant mixed strain of Chinese chestnut in hopes of creating a more resilient version of the American species. If the chestnut can be brought back, it will have a tremendous impact on the wood industry, and it will very likely change the nature of wildlife in the forest, Lockheed said in an NRCS interview, adding that he hopes his neighbors will see the importance of forestry management programs and begin participating as well. It all starts with one tree at a time. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!